Hello, losing my old friend as the Chicago Sky lose by 21 points against the Phoenix Mercury, continue their losing ways, and now fall to 3-8 on the season. We're going to talk about it all and more right after this.
Welcome to Chicago Sky Central, and here's your host, Hayes.
What's going on, Sky fans? Welcome to another episode of Chicago Sky Central, your number one spot for everything Chicago Sky related. I'm the host here, Hayes, but more importantly, you guys can follow the channel at Chicago Sky Pod on every social media platform we happen to be on. With that said, let's go ahead and get into this content for today, y'all. And yeah, the Sky suck, man. I would love to give you an in-depth like basketball analysis in regards to it, but it just comes down to they're struggling in every facet of the game of basketball. 20 turnovers today. Five of the first 8 turnovers came from Ariel Atkins alone. Now, she then goes on not to commit another turnover at all, but that continues to be something that this team continues to struggle with is turnovers. They can't turn the ball over, and when you're a team that's not an excellent offensive team by any stretch of the imagination, and you keep having that amount of turnovers, it's going to be difficult to get in rhythm at any point in time. Kamila Cardoso actually played pretty aggressively throughout the majority of this game. She scored 17 points with 3 rebounds. There were times in like that first quarter of the game, the first 2 quarters of the game, Kamila was just really being aggressive, and got to give her hats off to that one. And when Kamila's aggressive, she looks like a completely different player. But unfortunately, the Sky shoot 34% from 3, only going 8 of 23 from the 3-point line, and you gave up a bunch of turnovers and 3-pointers. They made 17 3-pointers today. Did the Phoenix Mercury, and unfortunately it was never there for the Chicago Sky. They don't win a single quarter in this game other than the fourth quarter, which at that point the game was basically all but decided when it came down to it. And this is just it. It just keeps being more and more struggle for the Chicago Sky. That is really what has identified this season up until this point for the Chicago Sky, is that they're just struggling with basic things. Shout out to Michaela Onyenwere, who had 17 points. She ties Kamila Cardoso as the team's leading scorers in this game. You get 13 points from Ariel Atkins, 10 from Kia Nurse, who took some very bad shots at point in this game. But you know what? I've come to the point of this. I can't even necessarily blame some of the players some of the time for taking bad shots, because offensively, we are not making it easy on anybody on this team to get in any type of rhythm offensively. Our play calling is subpar. Our execution of plays at times is subpar. That's why I'm not blaming it on any one part. I'm not just blaming it on Tyler Marsh. I'm not just blaming it on any one player. I'm even just not blaming it on the lack of having an actual point guard out there most times for the Chicago Sky. If you look at the Venn diagram of problems for the Chicago Sky, it may lean a little bit more places than others, but it's very close to dead center. And this is just a team that just, you can tell, just cannot find any type of rhythm because of what we're running offensively. It's so predictable. It's so predictable. And especially when you're turning the ball over and not shooting the 3-ball well while giving up a lot of threes, the Mercury snatched rhythm from the Chicago Sky every time that they could. Anytime that the Sky even looked like they were going to go on a little bit of any type of run to get some momentum, the Phoenix Mercury, like in the second quarter, the Sky ended up losing the second quarter only by 2 points. But there was a point in there where it looked like the Sky were going to go into some type of run. The Phoenix Mercury immediately was like, hey, yo, you got some hope? Let me snatch that hope from you real quick. Let's snatch that hope from you. And so I get it that we're running more things. You got to see Angel Reese put the ball on the floor, especially in the first half of the game where she was trying to be more aggressive coming off the dribble. It is what it is there. I know people are going to look at the plus minus, the box score plus minus. It's a stat that it's cool. You also have to watch the game, because if you're in there for a big run, not in there for another one, it can inflate it one way or another. But it is what it is when it comes down to that. This team is just it's a struggle. It just is what it is. This team is struggling in every facet of the game on the offensive side of the ball, and it's going to be so hard. I don't see a clear path on this team getting better offensively with the makeup of this team staying what it is now. Now, I don't know if the Sky are going to be open to making a move or anything like that, so I'm not saying that. But I'm just saying that with what we have on this roster, what we have coaching staff wise, what it seems like Tyler Marsh is trying to implement, if you even want to call it implementing anything offensively, it's just a struggle. That's what it is. It is just a struggle. And yeah, I mean, the Sky are going to have to figure something out if they want to try to salvage this season. But at this point, like I said, 12 games in, they're 3-9 on the season. And like I said, in the last live stream that I did, we're already a fourth of the way through the season. We're now over a fourth of the way through the season. Yeah, you still got 3/4 of the season left. That's more than enough time to get on a run. But when things look this bad, I don't know if you can do that. But listen, I don't want to just talk about the Sky struggles. The Phoenix Mercury operated an offensive system that they came from everywhere on the Chicago Sky. You look at them having 6-point players that scored in double digits today. You look at the number of players that all hit 3-pointers. At least 2 3-pointers made by I think like 7 of their players as well. Like it just was one of those games where everybody can get it. Everybody had the hot hand enough. Everybody hit a big shot enough for the Phoenix Mercury. And shout out to them. Kalia Copper, who's still kind of finding her way in rhythm back. She gets 16 points in this game. She's the second leading scorer for the Phoenix Mercury. Shout out to the Mercury for what I think this is now their 4th or 5th win in a row. So shout out to them there. You had Sammy Whitcomb having 17 points. She was the leading scorer for this team coming off the bench. You got 15 points from Satu as well in this game. Like, the Mercury just operated such a good, well-sound game plan offensively, and you could tell they had no fear of the Chicago Sky at all. They had none, and there shouldn't. There isn't going to be a single team that's going to look at the Chicago Sky and be like, "This is a team we should worry about on our schedule tonight." And it's just not there. We do not have the same firepower that we had, same execution that we had defensively last year. We don't have any offensive firepower at all. I get it. You traded for Ariel Atkins to be your scorer. And listen, I know me and Steve-O very much disagreed when this trade happened. And again, she scored decently well today, 5 of 8 from the field for 13 points. But we disagreed in the sense that, and this isn't to say I'm more right than Steve-O or anything else. It's just a difference of opinion. I did not think the Sky should be giving up an early pick with where we are. I feel like the Sky made a move to get Ariel Atkins in when they very well could have held on to their pick and added more young talent to this team. You added a veteran as if you were a team that did something last year. I can understand when you're a team that maybe went on a playoff run, and then you're like, hey, we just need that veteran, that go-to scorer for us. Okay, cool. And Ariel Atkins is a player that can score, but she's not, I wouldn't call her a scorer per se, right? And because of that, like, you're seeing even now, like, she's thrust into a role that she can do some of, but, and again, I know every time bringing up this name, it triggers some people. She's not Kennedy Carter. Kennedy Carter is a player that you can give the ball and say, hey, listen, we need a bucket. No matter what you got to do, go out there and get us 2-3 buckets in a row. Kennedy would be able to do that or get to the foul line or something like that. Ariel Atkins is more of a structured scorer. She's gonna thrive in an offensive structure that makes sense. We don't have that. Kennedy is the type of scorer that can score outside the framework of the offense, right? Those are two very different things. Now, I'm not saying that Kennedy can't score within the structure of the offense. I just mean that when things break down, Kennedy had the ability. Kalia Copper is one of those players too. They have an ability to find a way to get the ball in the rim. Ariel is one of those players where it's like she's going to look great. On times when the system is looking good, the players are executing the system, she can look absolutely great. But she's not, when you give her the ball and you're like, bam, go make something happen for us. That's when you wind up with 5 turnovers. It's tough to do that. Not everybody is that type of scorer. And that's not to knock Ariel. She's just different in the way that she gets her points, and that's fine. But the Sky don't have the structure right now to put her in a position to be able to do that as effectively as they're going to need her to do it if that's going to be our go-to scorer. And that's all I meant by that, right? Destro here says they lost too much offense in Carter and Mabry. Listen, when people were talking about Mabry and the Sky were going to be this so much better team just because they traded Maria Mabry away and Rachel Bannon was going to come in and be this great scorer. Listen, there were people where I was legitimately arguing with on live streams that I'm like, all right, listen, I'm not saying Marina is great either, but you're going to miss her when she's gone. And I do think even Marina would help this team in the structure of scoring a little bit more because of how she's able to get it done. But the woulda, coulda, shoulda. Kennedy's not here. Marina's not here. It is what it is. So this Sky team now has to find the way to do something with what they have here, and I don't know if I trust them to do it. Like, it just, you don't like to say that the season is over this early into the season, but I tell you what, it really does feel like it. Shout out to Quentin here with the super chat. Thank you for supporting the channel. Brother says, I can't do it anymore, bro. Watching them is like watching the Chicago Bulls. Both of them have taken the love of basketball out of me. I hate to hear that, bro. I really hate to hear that, man. But yeah, it's just a struggle. It's just a struggle, man. But yeah. Ariel Atkins, exactly, and that's what I mean by that, Machiavelli. Machiavelli says Ariel Atkins is a good player, just a bad fit for this team. And I'm not arguing with you there. She is, and that's why I said I didn't mean to like down her as a player, knock her as a player. That's not what I was trying to intend to do by that. I just mean that this team is needing her to do things that aren't to her strengths. Now, I get it that you added Courtney Vandersloot as well. You hope that having Vandersloot and Ariel Atkins as your structure was going to help each other a little bit more, and I can understand that. It didn't, and maybe they just had to work on the chemistry more, but Vandersloot's out for the season. She may never play again, right? And I'm not saying that as far as like her injuries career ending, but with her age and stuff, she may look at it and say, listen, I just tore my ACL. I'm done. I want to go home and stay with my wife and baby. That's perfectly fine. So this team is in such a place of disarray right now that it's so hard for them to find their balance because the makeup of the roster does not fit what we're trying to ask these players to do. It just doesn't. And we'll see. Kennedy Carter's season's up, I think, at the end of this month. I think it is. Maybe. I'm not going to hold out any hope. We'll see what happens there. But, man, this has been ugly. How many 100-point games have, or maybe it was just we've allowed some close to 100-point games, but this season has been such a damn struggle, man. And for this to be the season that you tried to sell hope on, that's crazy. So this is the first 100. So let's just look at this. The Sky, out of their losses, they've had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 games where they've given up at least 90 points. That's a lot in the WNBA. 5 out of your 9 losses are 90 points or more. You've given up 90 points or more, not by 90 points. And shout out to, I know there's going to be some jackass watching this after the fact. It's going to be like, well, actually, Hayes, I didn't say by 90 points, but you've given up 90 or more points. And then in 2 of those games, you gave up close to 90. It's a struggle, man. It's right now, it's a struggle. Let's remember the Chicago pass to Henna. Go back and look at it. I'm not even going to toot my own horn. Go back and look at what our pre-draft coverage. I was on the Tahina hype train. I thought that she would have fit a lot. There were some people that are like, oh, but her injury history, Hayes, I don't give a fuck about none of that. She's the type of scorer that the Chicago Sky could use. She really is the type of scorer that the Sky could use right now. It's a struggle, man. And the Sky right now are in such a place that I just don't know how this gets fixed anytime soon. So I don't know what's going to happen there. Why would she want to come back here to this GM and for this front office? I'm not saying that she would, but I don't know if any other team, WNBA team is going to offer. I don't know. The Sky probably won't. I do feel like Kennedy's too good not to be in the WNBA, and it feels like collusion is what it does. It feels like whether the WNBA sent out a memo or all the owners got together and like, there's no way we can have Kennedy Carter in the league next year, right? Like, I don't know if it's a humbling thing that they're trying to do with Kennedy. I feel sorry if Kennedy ever gets back into the W. Be sorry for whoever's defending that woman. She already had a huge chip on her shoulder. She gets back in the W now, she gonna be trying to kill motherfuckers. As she should, though. As she should. But it's just, hey, it sucks. This is where we are. This is where the team is. And it doesn't seem like this is gonna stop anytime soon, y'all. It does not seem like this is gonna change anytime soon. This is who the Chicago Sky are. And we don't have a roster or a coaching staff that seems like it's going to change it at any point. But enough of me yapping. Let's see how you guys are feeling. Let's get through some of these comments. We got David in here says the team is ass. Absolutely. Edward Sims says, what up, fam? What's going on, Edward? David also chips in. Tyler has no clue. When will the team tune this out? I don't think that the Sky aren't going to fire him again. They're not going to fire their head coach, another head coach after year 1. I can tell you that right now. Like I said, I can understand if they do. That's not me calling to say, oh, no way, fire Tyler Marsh. I just don't see them doing it 2 years in a row. Losing this bad on national TV is nasty work by Tyler Marsh. He gave up early in the third and just let the bench play the rest of the game. You're absolutely right. Let me start with the positive. You're looking really good. I think it's the new haircut, but you're looking really sharp. Thank you for that, KK. You know what? it is what it is. It is. I was sweating, getting mad, so the waves sweated out. But just know I'm spinning. This season is over for the Sky. Listen, I can't blame you feeling like that. As a Brazilian, I'm very sad about wasting this game of Kamila. I mean, hey, it really does suck. Getting blown out on national TV is not a good look. And it keeps happening. Look, I think our next 3 games are all on national TV. Let me double check that. So, yeah, Atlanta on Sunday. Tomorrow's on ESPN3. Tuesday against the Sparks is on NBA TV. Friday against the Valkyries is on Ion. And then next Sunday against the Sparks again is on ESPN. So be prepared. The stories that are going to be written about the Sky over the next few games because they're on national TV is about to be ugly. Next 2 seasons. This is only on Jeff now. No, it's not just on Jeff, but Jeff as the orchestrator of all this. Oh yeah, he has a huge load of the blame. Why does this guy keep Tyler after a worse season than Spoon? Because you're not going to fire a first-time head coach 12 games into the season after you just fired another first-time head coach. They're not going to do that. Minnesota own the Sky pick, can't build through the draft. Well, we still have a pick swap in this draft. People keep forgetting that. We still have a first-round pick swap in this draft, I believe, this year. I agree, Edward. KK, I hope Kamila and Angel are traded. I don't want their talents and potential wasted in this organization. Oh, the Sky would be stupid to trade them. They're not going to trade them anytime soon. That's the one thing that they have. Could you imagine the optics after all this and then trade one of those ladies? They're not trading them anytime soon. How are the players supposed to stay motivated when their coach quits early in the third quarter? Sometimes you got to play despite your coach, not because of them. Looking at the Sky schedule, I don't see them turning it around. Oh, man, listen. The Dream, the Sparks, the Valkyrie, the Sparks. And, and the Valkyrie, shout out to the Valkyrie for being a team, an expansion team, and being at 500 as an expansion team. Oh, how I would love to be able to be talking about a team at 500 at least. Get Angel out of there. They're wasting her talent. I'm embarrassed for her. What a disgrace. Well, I mean, you can't separate her from this. She's part of the problem, too. There's nobody who's abstaining from being the problem here. I'm telling you, every single player, every single coach, every single executive, every person who has ownership in this team, they all have their fair share of the blame. Can't nobody separate themselves and look at it like, it's not me. No, it's everybody. Everybody has had their fair share of being part of the problem here. At the time, I thought Citron for Atkins was a good trade. Now looking at Citron in her first year, it was a bad trade. This is why, to me, and I say this on every channel that I do. I say this on Bull Central, Bear Central, Sky Central, how I say it on NBA Central. There's a place of being as a franchise where it makes sense to make a move like they did for Atkins. Typically, when you have to make a trade to feel like that's what gets you to the place of being a winning team, you're doing it too early. You want to first make sure that your young players that you're establishing have grown to a point. Now, I'm not saying they have to be finished maturing or finished developing, but you want them to develop to a point where you're saying, hey, we feel like we could be this even if we don't make this move. Boom. Now let's make this move, and then it gets us there a little bit sooner. And then you have a veteran that's helping it, and then you have maybe another 2 years until they finally hit the peak of their development. And then maybe while that veteran's falling off, you now have those 2 young players, or however many young, 3 and Haley and whatever else that you have here now, and now you can sustain it. The Sky making the move that they did was a year or two too early. And giving up a first-round pick for a team that hadn't won a playoff game yet, that very rarely works out. Sometimes it does, but it very rarely works out, and that's almost in any sport. Say what you want about Teaspoon, but at least she was never a quitter, and our players believe they could win. I mean, hey, I'm not saying anything against you there. I completely agree with you there. Yes, and Tahina has been playing good for ATL. Exactly. I'm not disagreeing with you there. This team is trash, but what would you do for them to play better perimeter defense? I mean, honestly, they don't have the perimeter defenders. So, and there's times where they look solid defensively. I'm not saying they look great, and I don't think they have the makeup of the roster to look great defensively. But if you're trying to make a defensive move, honestly, I would consider benching Kia Nurse and starting Michaela Onyenwere. I think Michaela Onyenwere has the type of defensive potential to add a little bit more, just a little bit more of defense that you need there, just a little bit. I'm not saying a lot. But hey, Kia Nurse and Rachel Banham are bad signings. Well, Rachel Banham wasn't a signing. She was a trade acquisition that we got back in the Marina Mabry trade. But, yeah, I mean, and Mo Jeff, we haven't got shit out of Mojo yet. Not a damn thing out of her yet. So it's a struggle all the way around. Everybody's a struggle. Everybody is a suspect. It just is what it is when it comes down to that. So there you go, man. There you go. But all right, y'all. I'm about to wrap this up. 20 minutes on a 21-point loss. I said I was going to come in here and give y'all 10 minutes, 10 hard minutes. If you get the joke, giggity. But no, seriously, I love you guys. Thank you guys for the support, even through what's been a difficult season already. We appreciate you guys so much for supporting the live calls, supporting the post-game shows. I'll be back with an episode tomorrow, so make sure you guys stay in tune for that. I love you guys. Make sure you guys are following us at Chicago Sky Pod. You can send us any feedback, questions, comments, concerns. ChicagoSkyCentral@gmail.com. And then lastly, if you want to leave a text message and our voicemail for the mailbag, the number to do so, 773-270-2799. We got a couple of voicemails in, so tomorrow I'll probably drop a mailbag episode. So if you want to get your thoughts on the Sky in, 773-270-2799. Get those thoughts in. I'd love to hear from you guys. Love you guys. Go Sky. I see y'all tomorrow for the game. Peace, y'all.
This has been a presentation of the Break Media.